Webinar is being recorded, so let me make sure that, oh, great, thank you, Ree, that you all know that. At the end of this webinar, we will be having a reflection and feedback form that if you are interested in earning your PDP hours for, please make sure you fill that out. We'll share the link with you at the end of the webinar as well. Again, you can post any questions you have to the chat, or if you want to unmute yourselves and ask while we're going through this presentation. We're a smaller group today. That's totally fine with me and Rhiannon. Today, so we're going to start by just going over some why Flipgrid, what are some of the benefits from using it. We're going to give you an opportunity to look at Flipgrid from the student view. So I've set up a couple of activities for you to explore as if you were a student. And you can see kind of how the tool can be used in the math classroom. And then we'll give you time to actually set up and try creating a Flipgrid for your own classroom. And then we'll talk a little bit about some resources that are in Flipgrid. So why Flipgrid? Why is it a popular tool to be used? It's interactive. It is personalized so that students can see and hear each other. It's based on posting short video responses to either a prompt that you've put in or responding to others' videos. There are multiple means of representation and expression, and the program also includes the use of rubrics. It's a limited rubric, but you can use rubrics to guide students in how you want them to respond to the prompt. So we will start with the student view, and what I'm going to do is first show you what it looks like, and then I'll give you some time to explore. So I'm going to go to a Flipgrid that I have created. And I'm going to share my screen a little bit differently for this. So I'm going to stop this for a second. And oops. Okay, so here's the Flipgrid that I've created that's called Flipgrids for the Math Classroom. And in this Flipgrid, I've included 3 topics, and you can actually see the little topics over here to the right-hand side, and there's a little arrow bar that if you click on, I have created 3 topics in this Flipgrid. One is called Math Talk. One is called Comparing Towers, which is an activity more geared towards the younger kids. And then one activity is called Paint Mix It Up, and that's something, an example of something you could use for older students. So I'm going to start with Math Talk just to show you what that looks like. And here what you can see is on the left, there's an opportunity to insert an image. It could be an image file, it could be a Jiffy, it could be a video, it could be a link, it could be a recording that you've made, it could be a Google document. There's a lot of flexibility in what you can insert on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you can input text for a prompt. So this prompt is, welcome, today's math talk is 12 times 15 equals. And what I want you to do is solve it mentally. Step 2, what strategy or strategies did you use to solve the problem? By pressing the big green round plus button below, record a video explaining your strategies or strategy and how you solve the problem mentally. You can use visuals to show your audience your thinking. And then step number 4 says, respond to one other student post and explain why you agree or disagree with their strategy and answer. And so obviously here I also said to include some sentence stems, right, if you were a student. So I said to do this, I'll show you how to do it. And I've also included a document about math talks in the classroom. So if you've never used them in your classroom or are interested in learning more, there's a little document there. So if you keep scrolling down, I've already created a video ahead of time, but I'm going to show you to just create your first video. You press this green button here. And it pulls you up to a recording screen that has a lot of different functions down here. So you could add a filter to your background. Maybe let's do, oh, you could pixelate it. Okay, you can make it black and white. You could add text to your video. So if I do a little text box, I can type in my text. You could put stickers in there. Okay, so you can move this around. You can also annotate your video while you're talking. There's a whiteboard feature in the video. So if I turn on the whiteboard, it covers my face and I could be explaining what I'm doing and annotating at the same time, and I could record that. Or the last one is to insert an image that you want. Okay, so that's the video recording tool. And once you record, you have the option of deleting it or re-recording, and it's very flexible to edit. So I'm going to exit out of that. This is the recording I've made. I'm not going to actually play it because you can watch it if you want as you're exploring. But once this video has been posted, notice now there's this little green reply button. So after you've watched someone else's video, you can reply back to their video by creating a video response. Okay, so I click reply and it's a very similar screen. Now I'm just going to reply to what someone has already posted. Oops. So I'll give you some time to explore that in a second, but I just want to show you what that Math Talk setup might look like if you're interested in doing something like that. Another example, so comparing towers for the younger grades. You might now, so in my previous math slide, I chose a Batman image. It's kind of fun, kind of attention grabbing, but not really related to the content. Here, now I chose a photo that is related to content. And now the student would be using the photo to respond to the prompt. So compare the 3 towers in the picture, then press the green plus button to make a video where you explain your comparisons, use the words longer than or shorter than when you compare. Okay, so very kind of similar concept. I could create a video, and in this case, I'm not having students respond, but you could just see them explain their reason in that way. For an activity for middle or high, here I've inserted a video clip as part of the prompt. So I'm actually going to play this video clip. It's less than a minute long. You can see how that works. Okay. Can people hear this? Sound
no, we can't hear.
No? Okay.
Sarah, just make sure you unplug your headphones so we can hear.
Okay. That's me. Is that sound working? No.
It's not working, ironically, no.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's text.
Yeah, I think we can hear it. It doesn't say anything. I don't know if people are trying to hear him playing things.
Okay, so if you couldn't hear the music the sound to that, basically, Dan is texting with Nana. Nana says, "Can you help me mix some paint? I want it 1 white to 5 red." Dan mixes the paint, and then Nana says, "Oh, wait. Actually, it's supposed to be 5 red to 1 white. Is it too late?" And Dan goes, "Oh no." Okay, so we have this video prompt for this video. And our prompt says, watch the video. Without starting over, how can we fix the mistake to get to the paint shade requested by Nana? Explain your thinking by pressing the green plus symbol below to make a video. Be sure to try the drawing and typing features if it helps you to explain your reasoning. Okay, So here is an example. Now I've used a video to prompt some student thinking. So with Flipgrid, you can, the benefit of Flipgrid is that we're trying to get students to interact with each other by posting videos and responding to videos that have been posted. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of time to explore this. Let's see. So first, actually, maybe have I shared the slide deck with you all yet? Not yet. Okay, so I'll Ree has already posted the link to that Flipgrid that you can try out, and then I'll also post the link to our slide deck if you want to follow along there. And let me share my settings a little differently.
As a reminder, make sure you go in the chat and you click on the link that is flipgrid.com/ppsmaths. And then you can select one of those 3 activities that Sarah showed you. If you're having any trouble, just let me know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself.
Right. And if you've never used Flipgrid before, you'll have to sign in the first time you try to access Flipgrid. And you want to make sure you sign in using your BPS Gmail account, your BPS Google account. And once you're in Flipgrid, I asked you all start with Math Talk and try posting a video in the Math Talk or responding to a video that's already been posted.
Quick question. If I do Math Talk, do I press the green button in order to be able to start, or the green dot?
Right, if you press the green button, then that'll start a video recording of your response in Math Talk.
Ah, okay.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, Luis. Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. I was wondering for the, I was looking at the paint mix-up Flipgrid that you created. Where can you access the videos from? Those like from like YouTube or?
Great question. Yeah, so you can insert videos from YouTube. I do have on a later slide a resource where I got that video from.
Okay.
There's a former math teacher out there who's uploaded a lot of great videos like this and images to get students to think. And so I've included that as a resource. If it is on slide 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here. So slide 12 has some more resources.
Thank you. This is great.
12 times 15. I thought about this mentally as first 10 times 15.
Sorry, my video's going somewhere. What's happening?
Are we supposed to do both problems or just one?
Just one. You can just do one to get the hang of creating a video. So if in the Math Talk one, you can either create your response to the prompt or reply back to another video just to get a sense of how the video recording works.
Well, okay, that was fun, actually.
Great. Yeah, I see people have posted. So I see Jeffrey's created a video, Edward, Linda.
Hi, I like your solution. I think I would have started with 12 times 12 and 144 and known that I still had 3 more 12s. So 12 times 3 was 36. So 144 and 36, adding up to the total. Similar strategy, slightly different.
I have another quick question. Can you see other people's solutions if you don't post if you don't create a response?
You can. So you can watch everybody's response, and you don't have to reply, but I just had that as part of the prompt in this one to create a reply, because that's one of the features of Flipgrid. You're trying to get students to interact with each other and to listen to each other and think about what other people are saying.
Hi, I like your solution. I think I would have started with 12 times 12, 144.
Julie, I'm going to just mute you. So. There's a question in the chat from Ed Nelly. How do we see everyone's response? I don't see a grid. So let me stop my share here and show you what that looks like. So when you're, for example, in that Math Talk topic, and here we have 4 responses at the bottom, that means that currently for this topic, 4 people have responded. And you'd have to go through each individual one to play them to see what people are saying. Okay, we have some other questions. Is there a way? Oh, go ahead, Ree.
No, we have a couple of questions in here about people not seeing their videos and not sure if something went through. So we have to make sure that we allow it and fill out our names. Like when we go through all the prompts, I notice someone says you don't see it. It's probably because you haven't actually pushed to post it. So once you do that, you should see it appear on the timeline. Stacy just asked a question about getting the black background that you had, so you were just showing text.
Sure, I can show you that right now. So I'll create another video. And I went to the whiteboard tool here, and I created, you can choose a white background that will block out your screen, or a black one. So blackboard. And so when I start recording, my face is blocked out. and I can start writing, and I can press the record button now once the screen is blacked out. And Nellie, you said you tried posting one. Were you in the Math Talks topic that you tried posting? Okay. Maybe it was just at the very last step of sharing, because you can record the video and before you save it, you can delete it or edit. And maybe it was just making sure that you press that save video. And then the final step, actually, it asks you to take a selfie. So I don't know if you got to the step where it asks you to take a selfie, and if you have, then that definitely means that it was saved and it would be posted. Let's see. Great, and Ellie is giving some tips too. Instead of a selfie, you put up a piece of paper. That's great. We're gonna, actually, I can talk a little bit about some recording tips, because I know sometimes students don't like to show their faces. Let me start the show. So sometimes if you don't want your face to be shown and your students don't want to either, you can always let them know. You can just turn your camera off and still press record, and it'll still capture your voice. So that's one option. I showed you the board tool where you can put a whiteboard or a blackboard in. That can also block out your image. And Nellie mentioned that you can use paper. So you can also, you know, cover up your screen. You could go like this, and or write on a piece of paper and just put it up to your computer's camera. And I saw, I think some other people put an emoji that covered their face as well. So that's also a possible option for you if you don't want to show your face. Julie has a question if students can delete their videos after submission. I believe you can. Can you confirm with me or not?
Actually, I think that once you've sent it, that it's been sent, but teachers can hide it or they can delete it for you, I believe. Okay. That's how it works, yeah. Andrea is asking about how you could turn the camera off in Flipgrid. So one of the things you could do is you can just not allow for the camera to be on, or if you have one of those covers for your camera on your computer, you can just slide it closed. Either one.
So let me do a check-in on the chat. Do we want more time trying to upload a video, or do you now want to go into the teacher settings and see how you would set up your own Flipgrid? So if you want to say, continue student view, you can type that into the chat, or if you're ready to move on and learn how to set this up from the teacher end, just do teacher view. Okay, we'll move on to teacher settings.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how to get set up as a teacher. Everything that Sarah just shared with you, that is the student view. So she already created a grid with various prompts and videos, interactive media on it that you then responded to as a student. But now as a teacher, you're going to make your own. We have some ideas for you. But to get started, what you're going to want to do is actually to type the link www.flipgrid.com. I've also posted it in the chat for you to click on if you want to get there as well. And when you get to this link, hopefully it should take you to the main page. I'll do a screen share actually so you can see what I mean. Because I feel like it is helpful actually to live demo this for folks. So you did the student view, so that looks a little different. But the teacher view, when you go to the main page for Flipgrid, another URL for it is info.flipgrid.com. You should see, if you have never created an account before, in the top right corner, it says educator sign up. So if you are new to Flipgrid, that's what you're going to click. But if you have created Flipgrid before today, meaning that you already have an account as an educator, you want to click on educator login, which is right next to it. I recognize a couple of you from previous sessions, so just want to differentiate between those who've done it and who haven't. So if you have never used Flipgrid before today, make sure you go to that blue button, educator sign up, and you're going to follow the prompts. My suggestion is that you sign up using your PPS Gmail, log in with Google, and then it'll sync your account. That way you don't have to enter all these extra credentials. It's possible that it might ask you for your date of birth, and that's just to verify that you are an adult. So that is what you definitely want to make sure that you do. All right, so I'm going to give you some time to do that. Remember, we're going to go to the Flipgrid page and do educator login or educator sign up with our BPS Gmail. And then once you're in, I want you to post in the chat to tell me I'm in. If you're in, you should see a page that looks very similar to what's on my screen where it says My Grids. Okay, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. When you're in on this section, type in the chat, I'm in. We're still waiting for a few more folks to get in. Just want to make sure that we have everyone. All right. So Linda, yes, you are set. So if it says set up your grid, that means that you probably have to add a new one. So if you are in the educator side, a really good way to check for it, to do a couple of visual checks. If you look at the top of your screen at the URL, you'll notice I'm clicking where it says admin.flipgrid.com. That means you are in as a teacher. If you see a navigation bar across the top of the screen that says my activity, my grids, mixtapes, etc., then you are definitely in the educator section as well. So check on those two things, the link and the navigation. And what we're going to want to do now that we're on this page is to go to the section that says My Grids. If you've never created one before, it might be prompting you to set up yours, like Linda mentioned. But if you have created one before, then you're probably going to see a red button here on the left side that says Add New Grid. This is what we're going to want to click on. I'm going to guide you through some prompts for how to just get one set up to make sure that students and staff can respond to a grid. And then as far as the activities part goes, I'll let Sarah weigh in on that because she may have some ideas for you, what you can do with math, okay? So we're here on this page under My Grids. We're going to click on Add New Grid. It's the red button on the left side. All right, so watch my screen here. This is really important. So you're going to name your grid. Please know that you can always change the name later, so it's okay if you just come up with a test one now. I'm just going to call mine Math and Art Activities. Because I am a former art teacher, so I definitely will want to think about the integration of the two. So put that on there, math and art activities. And then if this is going to be a student-facing grid, meaning that you want to have students in K-12 respond to this grid, you are going to want to select school email. If this is a teacher or adult-facing grid, then you select educator learning community. So students are school email, teachers and adults are educator learning community. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to select school email. All right. And then you notice on the bottom here, it says create a flip code, and it says flipgrid.com. It has my last name and a number. This is where you can customize the URL. So I can make an adjustment here and call this one math arts, and then next. Now this is really important. I'm actually going to delete this blue area there just so you can start fresh. So this is the area that actually trips up a few people. It's really important that if you're going to make it student facing, you need to include 2 domain names. And the domains are basically the addresses of the people who are going to contribute. So that would be something like @gmail.com. But for us, we're going to have @bostonpublicschools.org for staff and @bostonk12.org for students. So I'm going to type @bostonpublicschools.org and then enter, and then type @bostonk12.org. Enter. So those are the 2 that you want to make sure that you add when you are creating a student email grid. If you do not include both of those domains, the students will not be able to contribute to it, and neither will your colleagues. So this is really, really important. You don't have to provide detailed emails, you just need the domains. And then we'll go to next. And now it says it's ready, but we're not ready to share this yet. We're going to go to the grid and actually add some of the topics Sarah was talking about earlier. Okay. When I get to this page, a really good way that I like to think about it is that math and art activities, which is my grid, is sort of like my classroom or my session, or just one particular class. And the topics here are activities or lessons or prompts that I want my students to respond to. So my suggestion for you would be to name your grid something that is sort of going to be a really good guiding point for your students, and then you're going to design topics underneath there that relate to that theme of your class or theme of the week. By default, Flipgrid likes to give you one topic that says say hello. You do not need to keep it. You can delete it. I'll show you how to do that. There's a little pencil. Universally in Flipgrid, that pretty much means that you can edit something. So definitely look for that pencil if you want to make adjustments. And this is where I can edit in here directly if I wanted to look at this particular grid. But you notice when I scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is how I can delete the topic. So I'll just delete it and then we'll just start fresh, okay? It's really important to actually click on some of these buttons that they're showing you. Like if you don't click on the red button, you're not going to be saving something. So it's not going to auto update for you. Any changes you make, you have to look for that red button to click on it to update or save or delete. So I'm again here on my grid, the math and art activities. I deleted the one topic that I didn't really feel was necessary or relevant to me. And I'm going to decide to add a new topic. So this is just like the math talk and the paint and the manipulatives activity that Sarah was showing you earlier. So she created them by adding a new topic. So we'll click on that. And I'm going to give it a name. Sarah, do you have any suggestions for what I can call this one? I can't hear you.
I was just responding to some questions in the chat. Let's call it fractions, fraction comparison.
Okay. And then remember how Sarah had some really detailed instructions there. That's where the prompt is, where she's telling students how they're supposed to respond to this particular activity. So I can, copy what Sarah had earlier because I think that's actually really helpful. So I'll just highlight it here and copy and paste it just because I already know this sounds pretty good. And then earlier today, I saw a question about the recording length. You can adjust this. If you go where it says recording time, this is really important. As a teacher, you can have students respond to a video ranging from 15 seconds to 10 minutes. Once you select the time, that means that is the maximum amount of time they can record. I really encourage you to keep it on the short side and to make sure there will be sufficient time to respond to the problem. Because if you feel like your students might need to take more time, then I would give them some buffer. So I can just adjust this to 2 minutes, just in case. You may have also noticed that when you all were posting your videos, we can see them automatically. That does not need to be the case with your students. If you wanted, you could go where it says video moderation and you just flip the switch on to make it green, to turn it right. And that means that it's been turned on for them to then be approved by you. So anytime someone were to create a video, like if Stacy created a video or Julie created a video, Sarah would need to see it first, or I would need to see it first. And then if we approve it, because we think it's appropriate, then it'll be posted live. All right.
Ree, could you press the record a video button and see if there's a limit if you were to record a video via Flipgrid? Because there's a question about if there's a max limit. Because I know if you upload a video from YouTube or another site, it doesn't cut you off, but I wonder when you're recording one through Flipgrid if there's a time limit.
That's a good question. We'll check that. So we had a question about the responses. I can answer that right away. So for recording time, it could be anywhere from 15 seconds to 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is the absolute max. And there's a reason for that, because people are not really going to watch videos beyond 10 minutes. So they keep it short. So that is the max. So for the prompt video, now we have lots of different options there. Somebody was asking earlier about bringing in external video. So you can definitely do that. You can upload whatever's on your computer, or you can add a video from YouTube or Vimeo. So those are from outside. But if I'm doing it from in here, I can just hit this big red button. Check that out. Okay, here we go. It is a 10-minute max. That's a good clarifying question. You can see it in the top right corner, it says 10. And this is where I can make adjustments. Now, Sarah showed you all the different options across the top here. I also discovered if you click on the 3 dots right next to the record button, then you could do a screen recording, which is in beta version. You can add a video clip, meaning you import it from your computer, and then you can adjust your audio if you want that or not. So if you have a video in sign language, you don't necessarily want the audio, you can just turn it off here. So the screen recording, I think for math would actually be really helpful, because you might need to see some of what's going on if you are going to be working outside of Flipgrid to make something. Okay. All right, so I can record my prompt video right here. I'm just going to pour the paint. All right. Oops. Okay, so Sarah, what fraction should I put on there? I don't even know what I should say about that. You tell me.
Well, what are we're comparing them? Let's do a half, 1/2.
Okay. So I can draw this ahead of time. I'm just going to clear that because it's messy. You can draw it ahead of time and then push the recording. All right. show me what it means to create a half fraction. All right, so you can do your recording and actually explain it all. It can be really hard, I think, to use the mouse, so it's up to you how you want to do that. Another tip for you all is that Flipgrid also works on mobile devices, so you can use phones and you can use iPads if you want to create something that had that touchscreen component as well. So when you're ready, obviously you can play around with these buttons, or you can just go where it says next and then it'll actually post it. All right. And then I could choose if I want to have a selfie here. I don't think that a selfie would be appropriate for what I just discussed. So this is not working. There we go. I can just say fractions. You can go back. Let's clear that. I think typing it might be better. Okay. And then make sure you look at the button on the lower right that says complete. There we go. So now I've added everything that I need for this particular topic. I have my fractions, title, I'll just call it fraction fun. And then I have the description here. Obviously I can always amend it. I have my time, moderation is turned on, and my focus, and then I can go ahead and create the topic. But there's also more options where you add additional details. And this is where you can add things like the ability for students to be able to respond to each other, which is actually really, really important. Because if you have this turned off, if it's gray, then they can't respond to each other. But if it's on, it's green, they can. And that's actually the default. It is turned on automatically for them. And then down here, we have the option to add feedback. So the feedback piece is really going to be important for you. Sarah said it's not super robust, but there are opportunities for you to add some key elements that you might be using to evaluate the student's particular video. It can be basic with just 2 checkboxes there. You can have it be more customized where you have the criteria that you'd like to add. So you put those on there as well. I'm going to go ahead and just create the topic. All right, there we go. And this is the link that I would share directly with my students, either by clicking on the Google Classroom icon, or I can copy and paste this anywhere else where I share videos or share links. Okay. All right, so once again, I've set up this topic and you can see that there's a circle with a hand in it. That means it's being moderated. So if I were to share this link with you all right now, you would be able to record, but you would not be able to see each other's posts because I have to approve them first. All right, now you notice I have no videos here, but when I do, you see a whole bunch, and then I just have to check them off for you to respond. I want to give you all some time to play around and to set up your first grid and topic. So that's what we're going to do. The next.
Yeah. And actually, can you also show, there's the immersive reader tool at the bottom of the prompt. So if you have students, Flipgrid can also read the text for you.
Yes, that's really a good point, Sarah. So if you see this little blue icon is on the bottom, students can click on it and have it read back to them. I'll just unplug so you can hear it.
1. Solve it mentally. 2. What strategies did you use to solve the problem? 3. By pressing the big green round plus button below, record a video explaining your strategies and how you solved the problem mentally. You can use visuals to show your audience your thinking. 4. Respond to one other student post and explain why you agree or disagree with their strategy and answer.
All right, so this is actually really, really nice. And students who might need additional support can use this feature. Further, they can customize it by going to the top right corner where you see the text icon and the lines and the book. So they can adjust color, font style, font sizes, ways to separate out nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. So whether they use it or not is up to you, but I think it's a very, very powerful tool that you can see evidence of in a lot of Microsoft products. And Flipgrid is actually part of Microsoft. All right, we had a quick question in the chat about moderation. So yes, you can moderate the students' videos, and yes, you can also moderate student responses, yeah. Absolutely, if you turn that on, you basically turn on moderation. Okay, so let's spend some time creating a grid. Let's start one from scratch. But if you feel like you're not really sure what you want to create, there's always the chance to go underneath the Disco library. So across the top of your screen, you notice you have grids, mixtapes, etc. The Disco library there actually contains a repository of various grid activities that you could reuse and make adjustments on accordingly. There was actually one that I found a couple of days ago. It has to do with which one doesn't belong. And so you could definitely do which one doesn't belong activity in Flipgrid as well. I don't see it on the screen here, but you could definitely do a search to see what's available down here. I could just type math.
Right, and the comparing towers activity that I posted, I took from another person's grid and I just modified it a little bit. So.
Let's do that. Yeah, and you know, the key thing that Sarah said there is that she modified it. So just because an activity is looking really good doesn't necessarily mean that all the components of it are appropriate for your students. If you want to think about making things more culturally relevant, maybe we replace the video in there. Maybe we have a slightly different prompt, slightly different rubric criteria. So those are all things you should be looking at closely if you're going to reuse someone else's.
Quick question, how do you edit somebody else's video if you want to tweak it a little bit for your own class?
Say that one more time.
How would you go about editing somebody else's video without messing theirs up?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Louis. And I also have one from Jeff that I want to make sure we get answered as well. So let's say I were to select a decimals activity here. This would be a review of what it is, the creator, how many times we've used it, the age group, and then I can choose which grid I want to add it to. So I just add it to my grid. There it is. And then it's going to pull up all the same details you saw earlier that I created from scratch. And make sure you really adjust some of these, like the timing, the description, the moderation. I'm just going to turn that on. Now you see they have a video here. If you want, you can delete it, meaning that you want nothing to do with that video, or you can download it. And then that brings that particular video to your computer, and then you should be able to make adjustments to that video. But that might actually be more work than it's worth, so it might be worth it to watch it and then just to see what parts of it you would use, or I would just create a new one or find a new one online. This one seems to be an image rather than a video. So this is actually not a video version, but if there was, you should be able to download it, hopefully. So delete that. And then you can add all these others here too. So Jeffrey, you were asking about having multiple topics. So I'm going to go ahead and just update this particular one. And you'll notice if I go back to my grid, you'll see there that I have, obviously, the math and art activities is my classroom. It's my main space, my grid. And then these are the topics in there. So you can add as many as you want. People have multiple topics usually.
Right, and in the example math one we showed you, I had added 3 topics. So one was a math talk, one was the comparing towers, and the third topic was the paint activity. So.
Right. So we'll go back to what Sarah has here. So what's on my screen here is the back end. That's what it looks like for the teacher. But for the student, they'll see the grid name, which is Flipgrids for the math classroom, and then these are the topics that are there. And it's up to you if you want to share the link directly to the entire grid or to those subtopics that are in there. And then with that being said, just make sure it's clear to students where they're supposed to be posting. All right, are there any questions about that so far?
And Nellie has a question about the disco library. So I think I'm not too familiar with what my favorite number is, if that's an activity, but if you want to see if that exists in the disco library.
I'm not familiar with my favorite. No, let's check that out. Is that a video or is that like an activity type? Let's try. Oops.
Oh, it's a protocol. Okay.
Yeah, my
Okay.
favorite no is really a protocol for doing an error analysis. So I would imagine there might not be a pre-made video or something for that, because it's really about posting a problem and then looking through all of the answers, sorry for my dog, and pulling what you think is your favorite error, the favorite mistake, and kids analyze it to say, what does the student understand based on the work that they did, and then what does the student, where is the student's misconceptions? And it's kind of like an error analysis, but with a perspective of even though they made a mistake, there is some understanding the student has, and then where is their misconception?
Thanks for that, Stacy. I had no idea about that protocol. So it looks to me, with that being said, that there isn't a topic that is called My Favorite No. So that might be something that you have to create, where you bring in your own videos and your own prompt. And then if you want to share with the general Flipgrid community, you can do that.
What might make sense is to post a problem, have kids create their responses, their video responses or whiteboard responses, and then from that create a new one that posts one of the, you post your favorite no, and then have students do the error analysis, like what are the kids' understandings and misunderstandings. So it almost seems like it would be a 2-part. First, pose a problem, look through the students' responses, find your favorite no, and then make a new topic of how kids should analyze it.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, we have one from Andrea. Let's check that out. So in terms of response, yes, Andrea. So Flipgrid is largely a video-based tool, but as we showed earlier, there are a lot of creative ways you could record a video. You can just use audio, you can just use video, and video can be you on camera, it can be your paper on camera, it can be the whiteboard, it can even be your screen. So it definitely does encourage the use of video and audio in some capacity. That's its main strength and focus.
Just to do a quick time check, we only have about 3 minutes left.
All right, Sarah, did you want to show the remaining resources?
Sure. So just very great. Yeah. So on slide 12 of the slide deck is some resources directly from where I got pulled the videos from. Let me. Oh, you just stopped sharing. It was from Dan Meyer's 3-act math tasks and some website called 101 questions, and it has some provocative, images that get students to start thinking and asking questions. Because we're short on time, I will not pull that up at this time because I have lots of screens going on. I can't even find it. Thank you, Ree, linking to the slide deck. If you have any additional questions or need any one-on-one support, me and Rhea are available for office hours. I'll post those there if you want to sign up to continue asking questions or needing support with anything. And finally, we have a reflection and feedback form link for you to complete if you're interested in earning those PDP hours. And I'll post that to the chat as well.
All right, so this slide deck will be available for you to be able to access after today's webinar. We will be emailing everyone the slides, the recording, as well as the feedback form if you missed it. But this deck includes more information that explains the navigation fully, different ways you could share your grid, and then where you can extend your learning. Because Flipgrid really is a tool that requires a lot of tinkering. I think 60 minutes is not even sufficient to really cover the scope of Flipgrid. So if you wanted, you can definitely check out all these resources here. And if you're looking for math ideas, I know Sarah said that she had some on slide 12. So I'll show you what those look like. Are there any more questions? We have 1 minute left. We'd be happy to answer them for you, either now or via email. Thank you for coming.
Great, thank you.